Hello, Commanders, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous Return from Beagle Point. Today's topic of discussion is going to be getting what you're worth, but before we hop into all of that, as usual, I want to give a big welcome to all the new faces who are joining our journey right now for the first time. Too many words trying to pop through my head at the same time. The purpose of this has been to ideally gain enough exobiology points to hit the elite status, as well as make enough money to hopefully purchase a fleet carrier and take all of our stuff out into the black and do all kinds of different stuff out there. And, maybe grab some people to take along for the ride. We are currently located very close to the center of the galaxy at this point, just another 50 jumps or so to get there. We're returning from Beagle Point way out over here, and our destination is still all the way over there. So we still got quite a ways to go. So yeah, that's the plan. That's what we've been doing. You're all caught up to speed. And as we hop into the next system, we'll go ahead and get started into the topic of today's conversation. If you're not familiar with the series, I do try to have a topic to talk about for most of the videos that I do, just so that it's not the same mundane, boring jump and scan and over and over and over again. So getting what you're worth. That's very hard for most people to do, including myself. I feel like throughout the course of my life, I've really struggled to try to get what I feel like I'm worth anyway. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people who think that they're worth more than what they're able to offer, and that's a different conversation. What you're actually worth versus what you think you're worth is almost always going to be two different things. And, part of you has to understand and accept that you're probably overestimating your value, and maybe your aspirations for your life may be a little bit beyond your actual reach and capability. That's not trying to downplay you as a person or try to insult anybody. It's just the reality is that only a very small percentage of people are going to have the ability to gather enough resources to live the kind of lives that most of us think that we deserve. And when there are limited resources and so many people that want to get to the same kind of place, well, you know what? There's going to be a lot of people whose worth is not enough to get there. And, most people's worth is not going to be enough to get there. It's just the law of numbers, and you're just going to have to learn to live with that. And, it just kind of brings me into my first point that life just isn't fair. We live in a world where nobody cares about your feelings or, what you want out of your life. They're worried about what they want out of their life. And most people are going to be willing to do whatever they have to do to get what they want, even if it means doing something at your expense. The truth is that, no one has your interests at heart but you. You are the only one who cares about what happens to you, about what you get out of your life. And, the sooner you come to understand that and start incorporating that into the way that you conduct yourself in your life and the decisions that you make, and, what you choose to, what kind of people you choose to associate with, and all of that kind of stuff, the better off you're going to be overall. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be, that attitude by itself is going to make you rich, but at the very least, it's going to reduce some of the crushing disappointment that you could potentially feel over the course of your life when you realize that, people don't care, and you're the only one who has any chance of making your own dreams come true. Nobody's going to come in and do it for you. I'm a living testament to that. I'm more than halfway through my life at this point, and I can attest that nobody has stepped in to try to help me get where I'm trying to go. Not in any kind of significant, meaningful way that's life-changing anyway. Nobody's handing out opportunities to do cool and awesome stuff. You only get there by, making it happen yourself. And especially, when it comes to your work life, it's one of the things you really have to keep in the back of your head. Whatever job it is that you're applying for, they have no interest in what your personal goals and desires are. They have a business that they're running, and they're trying to make as much money as they can, and that is the only metric that they truly care about. They may offer you things to, make the position more attractive if what you have to offer is good enough to put up with offering those things. But in reality, they're not offering those things out of the kindness of their hearts. They're offering those things because they believe that it's going to attract the kind of person who is going to work hard for them and sacrifice for them and make their business better. And, you know, that's one of the things that I really hate about the employee-employer relationship, because the way that things have evolved in this country has basically put us back into a situation where you have a ruling class and a servant class, and the servant class basically just has to do what they're told because the ruling class has the ability to, you know, force you to do what they want, or there are severe consequences. Now, back in the day, that was, you know, they had literal power over you to throw you in jail if they didn't like you, or, you know, punish you or kill you or whatever it was, because they were a noble and you were a peasant, and, you know, they could just do whatever the heck they wanted. You know, obviously the stakes aren't quite that high anymore, but we're still in a place where, you know, there is a ruling class who has power over the average person because, you know, we've been convinced that they are the rulers and we have to do what we're told, or we're not going to be able to make a living. And that's just kind of what things have evolved into, and it kind of sucks. We've lost the idea that, you know, we are our own entity. We are our own business. Even if you're just by yourself, you are in reality a business entity. You are somebody who should have negotiating power to decide what kind of agreements there's biological sources. If you look up in the top right, you see biological features. We want to find at least 2 on a high metal content planet. That gives us a really good chance of finding stratum tectonicus, which is a 90 million credit boon if we can get a first footfall. So we're definitely going to be looking out for that. You know, I'm talking about, you know, you are your own. Oh, here we go. That's what we're looking for. We're going to go land there and see if we can find ourselves some stratum tectonicus. More and more money to put into the bank. You are your own business. And unfortunately, the system has been rigged in a way that makes it extremely difficult for you to truly act that way. Because while it's great that we have all these laws that protect employees and protect people who enter into these business relationships as employees, you know, not every system, or not, there's always a dark side to everything that we do. And when you start making these deals that add, you know, these strict protections in for employees, it makes it very difficult for you to negotiate on your side, unless you're part of a large group like maybe a union or something like that. And unions have their own problems. You know, everything kind of has pros and cons that you have to live with, and you have to decide what's best for you. But in reality, at its very core, you know, you are your own business, and you know, you need to, when you are approaching a business as an employee, if that's what you're choosing to do, or if you're trying to freelance or whatever it is, you need to make sure that you are treating yourself as an equal partner in a business agreement with whoever it is that you're doing business with. If you go in there, you know, truly believing that whoever you're interviewing with, or whoever you're dealing with, or whatever like that, is somehow better than you because they have a job to offer or a contract to offer or whatever it is, then you're automatically making things so much worse for yourself, because now they have the ability to put more and more things that are not in your favor into whatever agreement it is you're entering into. So you need to make sure that you're treating yourself the same way that the business that you're dealing with treats themselves. They don't go into any agreements allowing the person on the other side to gain any unfair advantage over them. And, you know, as hard as it is, one of the things that I think a lot of people really need to work on is just, even if you're desperate, don't let your desperation force you into situations that, you know, you can't get out of. And, you know, obviously that's not something you can do all the time. Sometimes you have to accept a crappy situation because you need a paycheck, you need to eat, you need to live, you need to do all of these stratum, here we go. You need to live. But what you need to do when you're in that situation is to get into that situation and then immediately start looking for something that allows you to get out of that situation. do your best to get yourself. All right, seriously, are we still in? I said deactivate it, please. Do your best to get to, as quickly as possible, get out of these crappy situations that you're in and move into a situation that is better for you. And as I don't remember who said it. There's been a bunch of people who have said it, but the only way you have any kind of power is if you have the ability to say no. So obviously, if you're stuck in a situation, you're stuck in a situation. But once you're stuck in that situation, you immediately have the power to say no. Maybe not to the current job that you're in, but you can start looking for other opportunities to do other things. And because you have the relative security right then to say no to whatever new opportunities you're looking for, it allows you to start winnowing out some of the crappy opportunities and start moving yourself towards something better. I think a lot of us, especially myself included, we get stuck in this I hate my job and there's nothing I can do about it. But in reality, you could be looking for other opportunities to go do something else. And, we allow ourselves to get dejected and we start telling ourselves, oh, I'm just too tired to deal with this. I worked a hard day and all of that stuff. And yeah, all of that's true. But in reality, you could be spending some time trying to find a better thing to do with your life. It all goes back to the whole life isn't fair thing. And sometimes you just kind of have to suck it up and do what you got to do. Now, that's not me trying to tell you from a moral high ground or anything. I've spent most of my life struggling with that concept. But I also believe in the idea that just because I don't necessarily practice what I preach, that doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make the concept wrong. And so, everybody's a hypocrite. I can tell you what I think is right, even though I haven't necessarily done those things. Right is right, whether you do it or not. It's kind of the thing for that. But the other side of all of that is that you have to be very. One of the things that I have been pretty good about, especially since I left the military, is that you have to, when you make an agreement with somebody, you need to be very, very careful to only do what you said you were going to do. You have an agreement with a company, and a lot of times these companies are going to try to extract more effort and time out of you, and they're going to try to get a really steep discount out of that, be it by putting you on salary and then adding a bunch of different things that you never said you were going to do and then deciding that, oh, nope, these are now part of your job responsibilities, or by, not trying to wiggle their way out of things like overtime and things like that, trying to get you to take on extra responsibilities within the amount of time that you agreed to work that weren't part of your job duties when you started. They try to slip in this other duties as assigned kind of thing, and they want to add a bunch of different things that have nothing to do with the job that you signed up for, because they think that they're going to be able to get more work out of you than what you agreed to do. So it's extremely important to understand that, your time is the most valuable resource that you have. It's the one thing that we all have that nobody gets more of, that we're all on an equal playing field, that nobody gets to say their time is worth more than anybody else's time, because, yeah, they might be able to demand more money for their time, but at the end of the day, we all have a certain amount of life available to us, and, nobody gets to place more value on that time, intrinsically, outside of just how much money can I charge for my time. But we all have a certain amount of it, and your time is just as valuable as like a billionaire's time. It's just, we've allowed our perception of all of that to become warped to the point that we put these people on a pedestal for some reason. I don't know. I don't get it. But whatever. I'm going off on a tangent. Your time is the most valuable thing that you have, and that applies whether you're poor and homeless or you're living in a $1 billion mansion. Your time is the most valuable thing that you possess, and once it's gone, you never get it back. You can't get more of it. It's like I said, it's the one thing that puts us all on the same playing field. Nobody gets more time than what they're going to get. There's not something you can generate more of. So it's extremely important for you to remember that fact, to remember that your time actually does have value, regardless of whether you're successful in what you think you're doing, or whether you think you're a failure, or whatever it is that you're doing. Time is the thing that makes your life valuable. And the more of it you give up, I think this is a high gravity planet, because I feel like I'm getting sucked down to the ground. I don't know, it's weird. I can actually be high. Oh, nope, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for that. So let's see if we can try to land here. So, okay, sorry, I keep getting sidetracked by the relatively difficult terrain here that I'm trying to land on. I will eventually get it. There we go. So, you know, you just have to keep that in the back of your mind. You only have so much of it, and wasting it doing things that aren't going to benefit you is probably one of the worst disservices you can do to yourself. And you also just have to keep in mind that we live in a world where people are going to take advantage of you. Or at least they're going to try to. They're always going to be trying to take advantage of you. No, it's only 0.46 gravity, 0.46 G. So I don't know why I feel like I'm getting sucked down to the ground really hard. People are always going to be trying to take advantage of you. They're always going to be trying to find a way to get something out of you for as little as possible or for nothing. I mean, obviously, we all want something for nothing. Every single person listening to me right now would love to have $1 million just dropped into their bank account for no reason. You know, and I bring that specific example up because, you know, it's not just bad, evil people who are trying to get something out of you, who are trying to take advantage of you. You know, we're all trying to find the something for nothing situation. Everybody is. And if you think you're not, you are. You are. If you that one specific example of if you had $1 million dropped in your account and you didn't do anything for it, are you actually going to return that? No, you're not going to return that. I don't care who you are. You could be billionaire or whatever, and if you had $1 million dropped into your bank account and there was no consequences to holding on to it, you're not giving it up. It is what it is. We're always looking for the easy money, the easy reward, the easy everything. So, you know, it's important to remember that even people who aren't necessarily trying to be bad, who are not necessarily trying to be evil, are perfectly capable of doing things that take advantage of you, even when they don't realize that they're doing that. And you have to keep that in mind. It's not just the bad people who are trying to take advantage of you and all of your stuff. So you have to remember that, you know, people are going to try to make you feel guilty for not wanting to put in the extra effort to try to do more for whatever it is that you're doing. They're going to try to make you feel like you're less than. What's going on here? They're going to try to make you feel less than because, you know, you're not going the extra mile. You know, guilt is like a bag of bricks. You just have to set it down. You know, nobody gives a crap about your situation, and they only say those things because they're trying to get something out of you. You need to make sure that whatever company you're working for, whoever it is you're working for, even if it's your best friend, at the end of the day, when it all comes down to the bare bones of everything, they're going to choose themselves over you. It's rare, like hyper rare is the business or company or anything that is willing to allow itself to be shut down so that its employees can, you know, survive. Like, no business is going to do that. Nobody cares about you specifically enough to sacrifice themselves for you in almost any situation. I can't tell if this is no, that's not a bacteria patch. You know, nobody is. Very, very few people are going to do that unless they're a very, very close relative or, you know, you're an important person in their life and they have assigned that kind of a value to you. And I guarantee you, there's no business that's going to do that for you. There's no employer that's going to do that for you. You know, they might do what they think is fair to move you along on your way, but they're not going to sacrifice themselves for you. That's just not something that's going to happen. I wonder if I can land here. Probably not. It would be nice to be able to just grab this last bacteria that we need, but well, maybe back over here. I don't know, the angle's probably too steep. Just trying to find a flat enough place to land, because there's a bacterial patch right there that I saw a spot. Ah, right there. Oh, come on, give it to me. Yes. Very nice. All right, cool. You know, in the end, you are the only person that you can count on. I know that's crappy to say, and there's going to be a lot of people who want to disagree with that statement because, you know, your life has shown you that you're able to count on people. But the reality is that that stuff only happens because we live in a world that allows it to happen. And the moment everything goes to chaos, you're going to find out just how in your corner people are. When it starts getting into survival mode, you're going to find out just how committed people are to you. And you're going to find out that a lot of the people that you thought were committed were not. And the earlier in your life you get to the point where you realize that, you know, you're on your own, you know, you might be able to team up with people for a while, but you need to plan for the eventuality that you're on your own. You're going to set your expectations a little bit differently, which is going to make you a little bit happier because you're not going to be disappointed when things don't work out the way you want them to work out. And, you know, you're going to be more prepared when things go bad because you're ready for it. You've already set things up to be as good as they can be once that kind of thing happens. So my message to people is be fair. You know, be as fair as you can be given who you are and the kind of values that you have. But at the same time, you should never expect it from anyone else. I think it's good to promote the values of fairness and try to encourage people to be fair. But at the same time, don't be so fair that you're crippling yourself. Don't be so fair that you forget that the person on the other side of this interaction that you're having is probably not being fair with you. So, you know, it's a judgment call. You have to be looking at the situation and you have to constantly be, you know, trying to establish trust with people, but also verifying that trust. There's a saying in the military, trust but verify. You trust that people are going to get things done. You leave them alone to do it, but then you come along later and you make sure that they did it right. And that's something that you always have to be doing in your life in general. So that's all I really had to say for this video today. Hopefully you guys got some concepts. Obviously, there's no magic catch-all to, you know, getting what you're worth. But if you kind of follow the guidelines of just understanding that you're on your own and it's up to you to get what you need and make sure that you're not bending over backwards for other people when they won't do it for you, I think that's a good starting point to get you to where you're trying to get to. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to click the like button if you did, so that the YouTube algorithm will know and send the video out to as many people as possible. If you're not a subscriber, please consider doing that now, so that when the next video comes out, it will show up in your feed and you'll be able to watch it as soon as it becomes available. Channel members get early access to all of my content, so be sure to click the join button, check out the list of options available there, and decide if any of those are right for you. If you would like to support the channel but not in a recurring membership sort of way, you can always use YouTube's version of a tip with that thanks button. Direct contributions are greatly appreciated and a critical component to helping to turn this channel into a full-time gig, which is the dream, my dream for doing what I want for me. So anyways, again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the topic for the day, enjoyed the flight. Be sure to come back for the next one, and I'll see you then.